Good morning and welcome back to the farm. Today, let's talk a little bit about hay and its importance throughout the winter for our friends. This is Bob, one of our bulls. He's the senior bull and he is an herbivore. That's Charlie. He's an herbivore. These are goats and they're also herbivores. The point of this is herbivores primarily eat grass and some sort of leafy vegetative substance. They don't eat meat. So in the wintertime, you've got to come up with something for them to eat when your pastures are not growing, hence all the hay everybody goes through. They'll eat grain, but they normally don't out in the wild, if there is such a thing for domesticated goats and cows these days. This is the hay that we have set aside for the winter for our cows and our goats. We were blessed to live in an area where hay was plentiful and we were able to cut all the way through the season. Unfortunately, there are parts of the country that they are begging for hay. I've been contacted a couple different times for people looking for hay and asking if we had any extra. Basically, this is grass that we have on our pastures and others around us, and they go through, they cut it, they put it in a big long row, they run a baler through it, and hence a round bale pops out with the plastic wrap around the outside which holds it together. Here's a little closer view of the plastic wrap. Now the plastic wrap comes off when you go to feed. The question that you might have is, how do you move a, let's just say, 1,000-pound bale from here to wherever your livestock are? And this is how we move the hay. This is called a hay fork. Let's look at it. We have found that this is the easiest and most economical way to move hay. Basically, we put the hay fork on the tractor. You can see the 3-point hitch. I don't have the center link on right now, but I will in a minute. And we hook it up to the hay fork. We back into the bale, we put it wherever we want, we drop it, we cut the netting, and we're on our way. This year, since now that I am retired, I won't have to do it in the dark. First thing you do to hook on your hay fork or hay spear is to pick up the side. And since this particular hay fork fits different types of 3-point hitches, which is what this thing is here in the back, you got a couple different options, but it's not that hard to figure out. Can't get the pin all the way in, so we're going to go the other side before we cinch this up. I'll try to stay out of your way where I can. I'm going to back this pin up. I'm going to bring this forward. Put in your pins. These are what I'm talking about right here. Back over here, get that one in. And we're good to go. Now we need to hook up our center link, which is what this is right here. This one's a little trickier, although nothing's particularly super hard. What I do is I set the pin in the hay fork, bring up my center link, get the pin wobbled in there, and we're off where we go. Clip it in. Just like that. Now we need to center our hay fork on our tractor. This all moves one way or the other. So what we do is we center it and we hook it up so it's pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to be pretty close. And it allows us to move a little bit when we pick up our bale of hay. Kind of gives us some wiggle room when we need it. big things we have to do is we have to strap this hay down. When we have the cows and the heifers, when we do this in their feeder, we don't have any problem. But the bulls, they will throw that big bale of hay, flip it right over on top of you. So we've got to kind of strap it down, keep them from doing that. See what I mean about them moving the bale? If they could, they'd flip it over. Years ago, we used to use square bales. And if you use less than, say, 50 square bales a year, you might be able to pull it off. Round bales are less expensive. If you have the proper equipment for your tractor, much, much easier to move. You don't have to have an elaborate feeder like this. Some people just throw them out in the field. Well, there you go. Hay on the farm or your homestead. Hay is a cheap, and I use the word loosely, but cheaper alternative to trying to feed grain. Grain is not good for cows, goats, herbivores in general. They are given grain so that they will pick up weight more, so that they, all these things. But the reality is they can live straight on hay if you have to. Dispose of your round bale material responsibly. And until next time, I'll see you down at the barn.